rainy summer day, a fast flood washed a young mongoose named Rikki, Tikki, Tavi out and away from his parents' burrow. After the flood, a young boy and his mother were walking down a road and, in a roadside ditch, laid the semi-conscious mongoose. As the boy and his mother were walking, they managed to spot Rikki Tikki. After spotting the mongoose, the boy came to the conclusion that Rikki Tikki was dead. "Here's a dead mongoose. Let's have a funeral."
No, let's take him in and dry him. Perhaps he really isn't dead.
The boy and his mother picked up Rikki and carried him back to their bungalow. When they arrived at the bungalow, the boy's father was there waiting to return home. After some time, Rikki began to awaken. Rikki was not scared of his surroundings, but instead curious to explore. Rikki began running all around the bungalow, even around the family at the dinner table.
Good gracious, and that's a wild creature. I suppose he's so tame because we've been so kind to him.
All mongooses are like that. If Teddy doesn't pick him up by the tail or try to put him in a cage, he'll run in and out of the house all day long. Let's give him something to eat. They gave him a small piece of raw meat, which Rikki Tikki enjoyed. When nighttime approached, Rikki Tikki followed Teddy into his room. The mongoose climbed up onto Teddy's bed and began to fall asleep with the child.
I don't like that. He may bite the child.
He'll do no such thing. Teddy's safer with that little beast than if he had a bloodhound to watch him. If a snake came into the nursery now, Teddy put up her hand to end her husband's sentence. She didn't want to think of the idea of something so awful possibly happening. Early the next morning, Rikki Tikki ventured out to the garden. He scurried up and down the garden. Suddenly he heard the low, sorrowful voices of Darzy, the tailor bird, and his wife traveling from the thorn bush. "What is the matter?"
We are very miserable. One of our babies fell out of the nest yesterday, and Nag ate him.
That is very sad. But I am a stranger here. Who is Nag? Darzy and his wife cowered down into their nest. Without a response, from the thick grass at the base of the bush came a low, chilling hiss. Slowly out of the grass stood the hood of Nag, a big black cobra. Nag stared at Rikki Tikki with his cold, wicked eyes, which never changed their expression. "Who is Nag? Who is Nag?" "I am Nag. The god Brahman put his mark upon all our people when the first cobra spread his hood to keep the sun off Brahman as he slept. Look and be afraid." Rikki Tikki was afraid, but only for a moment. He had never met a live cobra before. His parents fed him dead ones when he was younger. "Well, marks or no marks, do you think it right for you to eat fledglings out of a nest?" Nag began to think to himself. Mongooses in the garden meant death sooner or later for both him and his family. "Let us talk. You eat eggs. Why should not I eat birds?"
Behind you! Look behind you!
Darzy said. Rikki Tikki knew better than to look. Instead, he acted quick. He quickly jumped just in time to see the head of Nagina, Nag's devilish wife, hurtle under him. Rikki Tikki began to grow angry. He felt his eyes turn red and fiery. He looked for the wicked couple, only to realize the two vanished into the tall, thick grass. Shortly after Nag and Nagina left, Teddy came hurrying down the path. As Teddy began to reach down to pet Rikki Tikki, a tiny voice wiggled out from the dirt.
Be careful. I am death.
It was none other than Carrot, a dusty brown snakeling. His bite is just as dangerous as a cobra's. Rikki Tikki's eyes grew red once more. He pranced right up to Carrot. "Oh, look here! Our mongoose is killing a snake," Teddy said. Teddy's mother let out a loud scream. Her and Teddy's father rushed out to the garden. As they approached the scene, Rikki Tikki had already finished Carrot. Later that night, after Teddy fell asleep, Rikki Tikki patrolled the bungalow. When a shadow caught his attention from across the room, it was Tachandra, the muskrat, inching around the wall corner.
Don't kill me, Rikki Tikki, don't kill me.
The muskrat wept. "Do you think a snake killer kills muskrats?" Rikki Tikki replied cynically.
Those who kill snakes get killed by snakes. And how am I to be sure that Nag won't mistake me for you some dark night?
"There's not the least danger. But Nag is in the garden, and I know you don't go there."
I am a very poor man.
he wailed.
I never had spirit enough to run out into the middle of the room. Hush! I mustn't tell you anything. Can't you hear Rikki Tikki?
Rikki Tikki paused to listen. The house seemed still, almost too quiet. Then he heard the faint scratching of scales against the bricks of the bungalow. That's Nag or Nagina, he thought to himself, and he is crawling into the bathroom sluice. Rikki Tikki scurried off, first into Teddy's bathroom, then to Teddy's mother's room. He stopped at the sluice and waited. Quietly outside, he heard Nag and Nagina's sinister plot.
When the house is empty of people, he will have to go away, and the garden will be our own again. Go in quietly, and remember that the big man who killed Great is the first to bite. They'll come out and tell me, and we will hunt for Rikki Tikki together.
But are you sure that there is anything to be gained by killing the people?
Everything. When there were no people in the bungalow, did we have any mongoose in the garden? So long as the bungalow is empty, we are king and queen of the garden. And remember that as soon as our eggs hatch, our children will need room and quiet.
I had not thought of that. I will go, and there is no need that we should hunt for Rikki Tikki after. I will kill the big man and his wife, and the child if I can, and come away quietly. After listening to Nag and Nagina's plan, Rikki Tikki spoke softly to himself. Now, if I kill him here, Nagina will know, and if I fight him on the open floor, the odds are in his favor. What am I to do? Nag slithered into the bathroom, looking for a quiet place to hide. Now, when Carrot was killed, the big man had a stick. He may still have that stick, but when he comes in to bathe in the morning, he will not have a stick. I shall wait here till he comes. Rikki Tikki to himself. If I don't break his back at the first jump, he can still fight, and if he fights, oh Rikki, it must be the head above the hood, and when I am once there, I must not let go. Without haste, Rikki Tikki launched his attack. The two wrestled and wrangled along the bathroom tile. Rikki Tikki held on for dear life until suddenly it was all over. The commotion woke up Teddy's father and Teddy's mother, and they quickly rushed into the bathroom. It's the mongoose again, Alice. The little chap has saved our lives now. After being satisfied with his work, Rikki Tikki began to make his way to the garden. Now, I have Nagina to settle with, and that will be worse than 5 nags. And there's no knowing when the eggs she spoke of will hatch. Goodness, I must go see Darzy. As he arrived, he heard Darzy singing about Nag's death. The news had already spread throughout the garden. Where is Nagina?
On the rubbish heap by the stables, mourning for Nag. Great is Rikki Tikki with the white teeth.
Bother my white teeth. Have you heard from where she keeps her eggs?
In the melon bed, on the inn nearest wall, where the sun strikes nearly all day. She hid them there weeks ago.
And you never thought it worthwhile to tell me?
Rikki Tikki, you are not going to eat her eggs.
No, not exactly, no, Darzy. If you have a grain of sense, you will fly off to the stables and pretend that your wing is broken, and let Nagina chase you away to this bush. I must go to the melon bed, and if I went there now, she'd see me. Darzy refused. He did not want to be bait for Nagina. Meanwhile, Darzy's wife heard all of this in Rikki Tikki's conversation. She flew off to the stables and pretended her wing was broken. She fluttered and flapped her wings without appearing to be struggling. All the flapping caught Nagina's attention.
You warned Rikki Tikki when I would have killed him. Indeed and truly, you have chosen a bad place to be lame in. What is the use of running away? I'm sure to catch you. Little fool, look at me.
Darzy's wife's distraction was working. With no time to waste, Rikki Tikki quickly made his way over to the nearest wall, by the melon patch. There, in a dark rat hole, laid roughly 25 eggs. I was not a day too soon. He could see baby cobras in the thin, skin-like eggshells. As quickly as he arrived to the nest, he began smashing on the eggs until there was only 1 egg left.
Rikki Tikki, I led Nagina towards the house and, oh, come quickly, she means killing.
Rikki Tikki scooped the last egg in his mouth, and he sprinted towards the house. He had intentions to use Nagina's last egg as a form of leverage. When Rikki Tikki reached the house, he saw that Nagina had Teddy and his family cornered.
Stay still. I'm not ready yet. Wait a little. Keep very still, all of you. And if you move, I strike. And if you do not move, I strike. Oh, foolish people who killed my nag.
Teddy looked towards his father. Sit still, Teddy. You mustn't move. Teddy, sit still, he whispered softly. Turn around, Nagina. Turn and fight. Without removing her stare at Teddy and his family, she responded.
All in good time. I will settle my account with you presently. Look at your friends, Rikki Tikki. They are still and white. They are afraid. They dare not to move, and if you come a step nearer, I strike.
Rikki Tikki said, Look at your eggs in the melon bed near the wall. Go and look, Nagina. She quickly spun around to face him and saw her eggs sitting in front of Rikki Tikki, forgetting all about Teddy and his family, and allowed them time to escape.
Ah, give it to me, Rikki.
What price for a snake's egg? For a young cobra? For a young king cobra? For the very last of the brood. The ants are eating all the others down by the melon bed. Rikki Tikki's eyes were blood red, and he was ready for a battle to the death. Hopefully, Nagina's death. Tricked, he laughed. The boy is safe, and it was I that caught Nag by the hood last night in the bathroom. He threw me to and fro, but he could not shake me off. I did it. Come then, Nagina. Come and fight with me. You shall not be a widow for long.
Give me the egg, Rikki Tikki. Give me the last of my eggs, and I will go and never come back.
Yes, you will go away, and you will never come back, for you will go to the rubbish heap with Nag. Fight, widow. The big man has gone for his gun. Fight. In the midst of Rikki Tikki's anger, he had forgotten about the egg. In a split second, Nagina managed to get her egg and darted back into her hole. She slipped into the hole and Rikki Tikki followed. The two battled to and fro. Darzi began to sing a mournful song because he and everyone in the garden believed that Rikki Tikki was dead. Suddenly, the dirt around the hole shifted, and Rikki Tikki emerged from the underground, toting Nagina's lifeless body. It was finally over, and the garden was safe. Again, all because of Rikki Tikki.